Hello students, so here your teacher Ruminder Kaur and we are studying biology and this is chapter number 5, Morphology of Flowering Plants. So as we have already talked about different parts of the plant and even started with the flower structure. So today let's talk about different parts of the flower. Let's study with number first, that is sepals and commonly known as calyx. These are the outermost whorl. Means whenever you will hold a flower or you will see a flower, you can first of all see the sepals. And they are mostly green in color, they look like leaves and they protect the flower during the bud stage. Sometimes they are united and sometimes they are free. As in the picture, you can see in the first location, gamosepalous means when the sepals are united with each other, they are fused with each other. While in the opposite one, you can see polysepalous condition, means sepals are free, they are at freely, they are not fused with each other. That condition is called as polysepalous. You can remember it like this: gamo is called as united or fused and sepalous is known as sepals. Poly is known as free and sepalous is known as sepals. Now come to second part, that is, yes, it is the petals. So corolla is composed of various petals. So petals, they are beautifully colored so that they can attract the insects. Similarly, like the sepals, even the petals, they can be either fused or they can be free. So if they are free, they are called as polypetalous, and if they are fused or united, they are called as gamopetalous. So now let's study. Here also they have shown different parts of the flower in figure 5.14. The shape and the color can vary from one plant to the another. Sometimes they can be tubular, bell-shaped, funnel-shaped or wheel-shaped. Let's come to the next topic, that is called as estivation. Estivation is actually where we will talk about the arrangement of the sepals or petals in the floral bud. So this is known as estivation. Estivation can be of four types. You can see sometimes the sepals and petals, they are arranged that they are either joined with each other or their margins are touching with each other. So the number first case is called as valvate estivation. Number second case is known as twisted estivation. Either sepals or petals, how they are arranged with one another, that one margin is out, other is in. Then means they are overlapped from each other. If I zoom on this picture, you can see how the petals are arranged. One petal is overlapping the second. Second is being overlapped by the third. Third is being overlapped by the fourth. Fourth is being overlapped by the fifth petal. So this kind of estivation is called as twisted estivation. Coming to number third case, that is imbricate estivation. In case of imbricate estivation, you can see one sepal or petal is total inside. It is totally inside. Next two are, again they are showing overlapping, right? One sepal or petal is fully inside, one sepal or petal is fully outside, and other three are being overlapped by one another. So this diagram is giving a clear view. So one is totally inside, one is totally outside, and other three are being overlapped by each other. Coming to number fourth estivation, that is vexillary estivation. I hope you remember when we have talked about the flowers of pea and beans, when we talked about their symmetry, that their symmetry is zygomorphic symmetry. We have talked about that their petals are not of same size. So that was which kind of estivation? Vexillary estivation. You can see one petal or sepal is too large. That is called as standard one. Then other two are, they are little bit smaller than standard and they are called as wings, and they are being overlapped by the standard. And the last two, they are fused with each other. You can see the structure, a U-shaped structure, which is connecting the two very small petals. These two small petals are called as keel and they are joined with each other. So we are going to study this from the diagrams. Here we have a very beautiful pictures of different flowers. In the first case, you can see calotropis. It is also known as ak. It is usually found in any bare land, any plot which is just openly found. So you can simply see this calotropis and they have beautiful color flowers, purple, dark or light range. You can see that the petals, they are beautifully colored and they are not overlapping any of the petal, and the one margin is connected to the another. This kind of estivation is called as wall weight estivation. Now if you look upon the three pictures, this is estivation called as twisted estivation, found in ladyfinger flower. See how beautiful yellow color it is, right? So one petal is overlapping the second, second is overlapping the third, third is overlapping the fourth, then fourth is overlapping the fifth one. So this kind of twisted estivation is found in ladyfinger, even in China rose and in cotton. Now coming to number third, that is called as imbricate estivation. Imbricate estivation means one petal is fully inside. As you can see, the topmost in cassia, yes, it is fully inside. Then one is fully outside and other three are being overlapped by each other. Same example is seen in the gulmohar also. Now coming to last one, vexillary estivation. So pea flowers as well as bean flowers, shape and size of the petals is very important. The larger one is called as standard, then little bit smaller than them is called as wings, and the last two which are fixed or united with each other, joined with each other, are known as keel. So these estivations, it is just simply showing us the arrangement of sepals as well as petals in the floral bud. So this diagram, figure 5.15, is very important, and these are going to help you in remembering the different examples. Now sepals as well as petals we have studied. Now let's talk about enderoscium. So enderoscium is the male part of the flower and it is also known as stamen. So if we enlarge the structure, you can see it consists of two parts. One is anther, second is filament. And both the parts are connected with each other with one tissue called as connective tissue. Anther. Anther is always having two lobes in it. So when we cut the anther, you can see the pollen sacs are present, and these pollen sacs, they contain the pollen grains inside them. So let's study the structure of the enderoscium. So it composed of stamens. Each stamen represents the male part, consists of a filament and anther. Anther is usually bilobed and each lobe has two chambers. So total 4 pollen sacs are there, and pollen grains, they are produced inside the pollen sacs. Sometimes there are few flowers in which stamens are sterile. Now what is the meaning of sterile term? Sterile means that they can produce pollen grains but they are not viable. Viable means they are not able to help in fertilization. As you have seen, many of the couples are there which are not fertile. Means there can be some genetic disorders found in the person that they are not able to reproduce and they are not giving rise to a baby. So different techniques are available with us like test tube baby and many other in vitro techniques. Similarly, when stamens are sterile in nature, means opposite of sterile is fertile. So those sterile stamens are called as staminodes. Now let's talk about the number of stamens. There is not that only single stamen is present in the flower. So sometimes they are united and other time they can be free from each other. So let's talk about the structure and the nature of the stamens. In the very first case, you can see this condition is called as epiphyllous. So mostly whenever sepals and petals, they are not distinct from each other, like in lily we have seen, right? So there were no separate sepals and petals, and there was only single whorl which we call as perianth, and stamens are united with perianth. So this kind of example can be found. This is called as epiphyllous condition. So bache, phylous means perianth, right? Second is epipetalous. Epipetalous means when stamens are united with petals. Directly from the petals they are originating. So example is datura. So already I have shown one more picture of datura, white colored flowers. So this is called as epipetalous. Coming to third one, gyandrous. Gyandrous means stamens are united with the female part called as gynoecium. Example is ak. Now let's talk about the next case. Sometimes stamens are free and or it can be fused in nature. So in the very first picture, it is called as monoadelphous. All stamens, they are united and only single filament is present. This kind of condition is called as monoadelphous, and example is China rose. In case of second example, that is diadelphous, in case of P, there are two different units. One stamen that is totally free and other are fused. That's why diadelphous term is used. And number third is called as polyadelphous condition. It is found in the citrus fruits. So here more than two bundles are found. So sometimes the filament length can be of same size in all the androecium, and sometimes it can vary from one another. Let's come to the fourth part of the flower called as gynoecium, which is also known as pistil or carpel. It has three parts as we have already studied. Number 1, ovary. Number 2, style. And number 3, stigma. So all three parts, they are playing very important role. Ovary is the basal part, right? Then style is a long tube, and stigma is usually at the tip of the style and it receives the pollen grains. Every ovary bears one or more ovules and they are attached to the placenta. So I was looking for this picture. So placenta, you can see it is ovary wall, like you can say it is a fruit. Then seed is present. So immature seed is called as ovule, and this ovule is attached to the ovary wall with small stalk-like structure. That is known as placenta. So as we have seen in humans and even in other mammals which are placental in nature, so placenta is a connective tissue between a mother and the fetus that helps in withdrawing of any waste, toxins from the body of the fetus, and provide continuous nutrition, oxygen, useful hormones, medicines, etc. Similarly, in the plants also, placenta act as a connective tissue between the seed and the ovary wall. So let's look upon the next features. So when there is only single carpel present, so then it is simple. Mostly we have seen that single carpel is present in the flower, but when more than one carpel is present, now the question arises, will they be free or they will be fused? So when they are free, like in lotus and rose, then that condition is called as apocarpus. But when they are fused, like in mustard and tomato, then they are called as syncarpus condition. So after fertilization, ovules will turn into seeds and ovary will mature into a fruit. So let's look upon these conditions. So whenever there is only single carpel present, we call it as monocarpus. And when more than one, so now the condition comes, if they are free from each other, this condition is called as apocarpus. But when they are fused with each other, then that is called as syncarpus condition. Now let's talk about placentation. How placenta is arranged in different fruits, or in different, how the ovaries, within the ovary the arrangement of ovules is there. That is called as placentation. This figure 5.16 is very important. In your book there are total 5 kind of placentations shown. Like number 1, marginal placentation. You can see all the seeds are present on one margin only. You can easily see that, recognize that this is an example of a pea, beans. So mostly they are present in this form, in the margin. Then number 2 is exile placentation. So exile placentation means when the placenta is exile, right? And the ovules, they are attached in the multilocular ovary. So many seeds you can see around. That is exile. Mostly like when we are cutting tomato, when you are cutting lemon, you mostly have seen that lemon seeds are arranged in this case. So it is exile placentation. Coming to number third, that is parietal placentation. In case of parietal placentation, how the ovules are arranged? They are arranged on the inner wall of the ovary, means on the peripheral part. Peripheral means on the side. On the sides they are arranged. Now coming to number fourth, that is free central. So ovules, they are born on the central axis, and there is no other division. Like in all others, divisions were found, but there is no other division. So this is called as free central. Last is called as basal. You can see ovule is just present at the base of the ovary. So placentation means arrangement of the seeds inside the fruit, or you can say the arrangement of the ovules within the ovary. How seeds are located inside. This arrangement is called as placentation. So if I zoom on this picture, you can see number first diagram, that is the pea, how peas are arranged on the margin. Then we come to exile placentation. Look up on the right hand side diagram. So you cut the tomato, you cut the lemon, because these are citrus fruits. So they show the exile placentation. In this also, capsicum also when we cut, right? So they have shown the bell pepper and the capsicum diagram. So it is also showing about the exile placentation. Then parietal examples, there are many other parietal examples, placentation examples are found. So parietal placentation means like in kiwi, you can see in muskmelon, kharbuja, right? So seeds are how they are located. So that on the periphery. Fine. Next we are coming to the free central and the basal. Free central means they are found in dianthus. You can see how they are freely, there is no septum that is detaching them. So they are present freely in the center. Last one, that is basal placentation. You can see the sunflower seeds. These are easily available these days, like. So this sunflower seeds, they are present, they are attached on the base of the ovary. So this is very common example of the basal placentation. Now coming to next part of the plant, that is again very important. Whenever the ovary matures, it develops into a fruit. So fruit is always formed after the fertilization. So if a fruit is formed without fertilization, so can you imagine that fruit can be formed without fertilization? Yes, it can. And these kind of fruits are known as parthenocarpic fruit. It means directly the ovary is turning into the fruit. There is no need of any male gamete. There are so many parthenocarpic fruits available. So many apples are available that do not contain seeds. Then oranges are available, watermelons are available these days without seeds, so we call them as seedless. So those are the parthenocarpic fruits. Next we will talk about the general wall or the layer. The layering of the fruit or the covering of the fruit, that is very important, which helps in protection, that is known as pericarp, and inside the seed is present. Pericarp can be dry or fleshy. Dry or fleshy. Now you will come to know about it. When pericarp is thick and fleshy, it is differentiated into three parts. So we like to have mango, like this season is of mangoes. So it consists of three layers inside. Outer one that we mostly remove, that we do not eat, is known as epicarp. Then the fleshy portion that we like to eat, from which you make the puree of the mango, that is known as mesocarp, means eatable portion, edible part. Number third, seed is present. The covering of seed is known as endocarp. In case of coconut also you can see. So both mango and coconut, they are called as drupe fruits. So what are drupe fruits? In which the seeds are present in the form of stones, and there is very thin skin around of the fruit, and the fleshy fruit is there. So many examples are given in pista, in almond, in cherries, coffee beans, coconut, mangoes, apricots, dates. So these kind of fruits are called as drupe fruits. So then if we talk about how they are developing, they are developed from monocarpillary superior ovaries. We have already talked about monocarpillary means when only there is presence of single gynoecium. Mono means one, carpillary means carpel or pistil. Superior ovary means when there are flowers which are hypogynously arranged and there are mostly single seeded. In case of mango, pericarp is well differentiated. So we have already talked about all the three layers, epicarp, mesocarp and endocarp. In coconut also, mesocarp is mostly fibrous in nature. Now if we come to the portion of the seed, so seeds, they are developed from the ovules after fertilization. They are made up of seed coat and an embryo. In the lower classes also you have studied radicle is a portion from which roots are originating. Then plumule is a portion from which shoots are originating. And there is one embryonal axis present inside it. In some seeds where two cotyledons are present called as dicots, and in which single monocot like single cotyledon is present, it is called as monocotyledonous seed. So students, in the next video lecture, we will talk about the structure of different dicotyledonous seed as well as the monocotyledonous seed. Till then, learn and revise. Thank you.